Ever since I started this series, I was doubting myself a little bit. I was like, I don't know if I should really accept this challenge, drawing all of these capital cities around the world, because I don't know what people are going to think of that. I was slowly getting the hang of this series, and I did get nervous at first. As the months went by, I was slowly, gradually improving my drawing skill. What we recently accomplished was no other. We have covered all 50 American state capitals. Bit by bit, piece by piece, paper by paper. We've been through our ups and downs, we've been through pain, we've been through torture, and it was just a roller coaster. This journey of us working on these American state capitals has been one of the best times of my life. Like what I just said before, it's been a pain. It was the definition of torture. And have we been worn out several times as we were working on these American state capitals on camera? You're darn right we were, but no matter how hard we get worn out, we would still push through those American state capitals like it's nothing. Throughout these months, we've been conquering those state capitals. We have covered 50 of those state capitals, the US state capitals, on camera. And that leaves us to one special capital in the US. So what's up, everyone? In this video, the next capital city I'm about to draw is going to be Washington, D.C. Oh man, oh my goodness. You have no idea how deeply excited I am to draw this American capital city out, the national capital, the capital of the United freaking States of America. One of my favorite cities of all time, and one of my 3 cities that I strongly want to visit someday. It may seem like I'm faking the excitement, but I'm not really faking my excitement. I am actually pumped. I am prepared to draw this national capital out. You have no idea. Again, sorry, I know that was cringy. I know that excitement there was pretty cringy. But I'm for real. I am deeply excited to draw this capital city out, the national capital again. Like, I have so much respect on that capital city. I want to see those iconic landmarks. Like, I just want to see those in person. I want to have the capability of visiting this national capital before I can even die, before I can even leave this world. We're not going to waste any more time here. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and get to work. Washington, D.C., also called District of Columbia, or D.C., or just Washington. Sometimes it's quite confusing because you don't know if you're talking about the state of Washington or the city of Washington, the capital of USA, America's capital. Washington, D.C. is located on the east side of the Potomac River that forms the border with Virginia and shares the land border with Maryland. The city is named after George Washington, one of the founding fathers of the U.S. and also the very first U.S. president. What a legend this guy was. He really was an absolute legend. And the federal district is named after Columbia, which is a female version of Christopher Columbus. It's a female personification for the U.S. The city is one of the most significant cities in the world. It's also one of the most visited cities in the US. A bunch of tribes of the Algonquian-speaking Piscataway people used to inhabit the lands near the Potomac River as Europeans first visited. The area this was during the early 17th century, by the way. The Nagotchtank people had control of the settlements around the Anacostia River, and the Europeans and nearby tribes got into conflicts, and this caused the Piscataway people to move to another area, establishing a new settlement towards the end of the 17th century near Point of Rocks, Maryland. In 1788, James Madison published an essay, Federalist Number 43. He argued that the federal government should include authority for a national capital. 5 years earlier, a bunch of soldiers that were unpaid turned into a mob towards Congress, and the Executive Council of Pennsylvania didn't give a single crap about the whole situation, and he didn't give a crap about stopping it. And this led the Congress of the Confederation moving from Philly and the creation of the Federal District to be a national capital. This is the Pennsylvania Mutiny of 1783, or Philadelphia Mutiny. James Madison, Alexander Hamilton, and Thomas Jefferson got into an agreement that the federal government would cover the state's debts from the Revolutionary War, and in return for setting up a new national capital in the southern United States. On July 9th of 1790, Congress passed the Residence Act, which accepted the creation of a national capital by the Potomac River, chosen by President George Washington. The land was getting formed by Maryland and Virginia, so both Maryland and Virginia gave away a little bit of their lands to create a special land to create the Federal District, the national capital, of course. Georgetown, Maryland, and Alexandria, Virginia got included in the land, that special land. And the boundaries got set up for the Federal District with stones. So a week later, the Congress officially made the Federal District like the permanent capital of the U.S. The federal city had its construction. The city got named after President Washington, obviously, what I just mentioned a little bit earlier, as an honorary. And while the Federal District got named after the female form of Columbia, in 1791. The Congress passed the D.C. Organic Act of 1801. The district got organized and the territory gained control of the federal government. And the district had two counties, the Washington County and the Alexandria County. People living in the district were no longer residents of Maryland and Virginia. In 1814, there was chaos in the district. The British soldiers got their filthy hands, and destroyed a bunch of buildings. The buildings got fudged up. And this was known as the Burning of Washington during the War of 1812. D.C., the District of Columbia, went through retrocession and the Civil War. For the retrocession, D.C. had to return the Virginia portion in 1846, and there was some proposals that D.C. should just be part of Maryland, but that's not going to transpire. D.C. will never be part of Maryland. It will forever be a special type of land. It will be a special area in the U.S., so there's no way. And during the Civil War, D.C. was in a trap. Since it was the Union capital during the American Civil War, it was being sandwiched by Virginia, which is a slave state, and Maryland, which is a border slave state. President Abraham Lincoln's job was to protect Washington from the Confederate Army. The district was growing, and Lincoln signed
the Compensated Emancipation Act in 1862. And this led to the end of slavery in the District of Columbia. And this was before the Emancipation Proclamation. In 1871, Congress passed an act that made Washington and Georgetown unify each other to establish a new territorial government for the entire District of Columbia. The district went through some redevelopment. So this district started off as a dump. Yeah, it was a complete dump. Filthy dirt roads, poor sanitation. The sanitation wasn't that good. Yeah, it was just a hot freaking mess for the federal district. A bunch of government buildings were being built, as well as memorials and museums. All of those stuff were getting constructed. The 23rd Amendment to the U.S. Constitution got ratified in 1961, 2 years before JFK got assassinated in Dallas. And this amendment allows people living in the District of Columbia to vote for presidential electors. Ever since Martin Luther King Jr. got assassinated in 1968, the riots broke out in America's capital. Yeah, all heck broke loose. People were sabotaging crap in the district. It took thousands of troops to bring the violence to an end. Lots of stores and buildings got burned up, and it definitely took a while for all of those stores and buildings to get repaired. Yeah, it took a couple decades actually. In 1973, the Congress enacted the District of Columbia Home Rule Act that allowed the creation of the municipal government, and this form of government had the mayor-council government. In 1975, so that's the same year my mom was born in, Walter Washington became the first black mayor of a major American city, and the first Washington, D.C. mayor since 1871. 1871 is the same year that the Great Chicago Fire became a thing. Of course, Washington, D.C. went through a lot. It went through so much ever since it became the national capital. Well, before it became the national capital, and when it became the national capital, after it became the national capital and everything, it went through so much. And there's a few infamous events that took place in the district. We got the Battle of Fort Stevens, and this is the only American Civil War battle that was fought in D.C., and the Union took the W. The Confederate Army had to retreat, and this was the last Confederate invasion of a northern state, I believe. March on Washington, where Martin Luther King Jr. did his infamous "I Have a Dream" speech. The Watergate scandal, where President Nixon made some burglars break into the Watergate complex. This led to Nixon resigning from his presidency. The U.S. Capitol riot, where a bunch of supporters of Donald Trump stormed into the Capitol building. And there's been some movements that D.C. should be a state, and in fact, there's a bill that got passed by the House of Representatives this year, so we don't know if DC will ever become a state. We're gonna have to keep waiting here. It's called the patient game, or patience game. And the city has, well, the national capital has some organizations and groups such as the World Bank Group, International Monetary Fund, Organization of American States, AARP, and American Red Cross. Washington, D.C.'s nicknames are D.C. and the District. The city's motto is Justice for All, but in Latin, you get this. The national capital is split into quadrants. And there's a freak ton of popular places that the national capital has. There's so many. It's unreal. And I didn't mention all of these popular places. I didn't mention all of these places, so just only a large handful, well, a good handful, actually. So let's go ahead and begin. We got Georgetown University, Library of Congress. This is one of the biggest libraries in the world. Howard University, American University, FedEx Field. It's not located in the national capital, but it is located in a suburb of the national capital. This stadium is home of the Washington football team. It used to be called the Washington Redskins, and I believe there's some rumors going on that the Washington football team, which is such a repetitive freaking name, are gonna get their name change. Capital One Arena, it's home of the Washington Wizards, a major basketball team, and a hockey team, the Washington Capitals. Nationals Park, home of the Washington Nationals, a major baseball team. Audi Field, home of the major soccer team, DC United. Entertainment and Sports Arena, home of the Washington Mystics, which is a major female basketball team. Smithsonian National Museum of Natural History, National Museum of African American History and Culture, National Gallery of Art, U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum, National Air and Space Museum, Smithsonian American Art Museum, National Museum of American History, National Geographic Museum, National Museum of African Art, National Children's Museum, Smithsonian National Zoological Park, Smithsonian Institution Offices, National Museum of Women in the Arts, National Building Museum, National Museum of American Indian, Thomas Jefferson Memorial, World War II Memorial, Lincoln Memorial, Korean War Veterans Memorial, FDR Memorial, Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial, National Mall, U.S. Botanic Garden, Washington Monument, the Treasury Building, U.S. Supreme Court Building, U.S. Capitol Building, and last but not least, the infamous White House. Washington, D.C. is the birthplace of these famous people, such as, well, Now, I am familiar with a lot of these famous people here on the internet and on TV, so let's go ahead and begin. We got basketball athletes Kevin Durant and Elgin Baylor, RIP to this guy. Science educator Bill Nye, model Black China, YouTuber Not Your Average Flight, rappers Whale and Chameleonaire, singers Maya, Jay Holiday, Marvin Gaye, RIP to this guy, and Genuine, politicians Al Gore and Muriel Bowser, lawyer John F. Kennedy Jr., RIP to this guy, composer Duke Ellington, RIP to this guy, wrestlers Batista, Abyss, Nyla Rose, actors Samuel L. Jackson, Taraji P. Henson, Clifton Powell, Regina Hall, Michael Ealy, Katherine Heigl, Benga Akinagbe. I'm not good with names, so I really tried to pronounce that name there. Allison Hannigan and Isabel Furman, and also Tony Todd. Comedians Dave Chappelle and Stephen Colbert. TV personalities Maury Povich and Zach Baggins. It was an absolute pleasure drawing the national capital for the very first time on camera, the capital of USA. And I was extra focused, I was extra concentrated on doing this drawing for over 2 hours. And I don't remember if I did a single stretch. I did stretch one of my hands, and I did crack my knuckles a few times. I did hesitate a few times as well. Drank some water, and I just had a good time, and I wasn't really stressed out whatsoever. I did the entire drawing in one sitting.
Okay guys, here's the finished drawing of Washington, D.C. Nearly 3 hours of work. You obviously got the Washington Monument, the U.S. Capitol building in the background, crap load of trees. I really tried to squeeze in as much buildings as possible. From the picture I saw, the picture I was using, I wasn't able to squeeze all of the buildings in. Overall, this is a pretty decent drawing. of the nation's capital. Yeah, I get to draw one of my favorite cities for the first time. For the very first time on camera. The trees were a real pain, including the small buildings I had to worry about. Those were real pain. The trees and the small buildings in the background. Yeah, I really tried to handle all of that stuff. And we got the river that's in the front. Also, my hideous signature. Washington, D.C., everyone. It's over, guys. We did it. I didn't do it. We did it, because I'm not a super selfish person. We put so much blood, so much sweat, and so much freaking tears into this. It definitely took a while for us to get through the 50 state capitals and the national capital. That's because I had to devote my time on other things for this channel and outside of my YouTube time. This has been one of the most wonderful times in my life. I got to draw 50 American state capitals and the national capital with you guys. And I'm looking forward to drawing more capital cities. A freak ton of capital cities in this world, which it's really unimaginable. I'm gonna go through so much. I didn't do this for myself. I did it for you guys. I also did it for each and every American and non-American. I did it for the country. No matter what the supporters think of me, I'll take the endorsement, I'll take the compliments, I'll take the likes, and no matter what the haters think of me, saying that, oh, you're a worthless artist, you're such a boring, repetitive artist, you can't even draw for crap. I'll take the insults, no matter how hard they kick me, no matter how hard they kick dirt in my eyes, no matter how hard they give me low blows, no matter how hard they punch me dead in the face, I would just fight through the negativity. I didn't want to back down. Dang, it feels so good to do 50 drawings of the state capital and the national capital, a total of 51 American capital cities that I had to push through. It felt like a long train ride, and this shows that I really do love cities. I really support cities. I really love cities. I don't think there's a single city that I actually hate, and I know there's going to be some people that really find these capital city drawing videos repetitive to watch. Hey, that's fine. If you hate my videos, don't watch them. I'm not bothered with that. I'm okay with that completely. So I did 13 American state capitals in my original channel, Jules Nerdy. I can't really do anything on that channel anymore because I stupidly locked myself out from my old account, so I had to make a new channel, which is this. And I did the rest of the American state capitals, including the national capital, on camera on this channel. But if you go to my playlist on this channel, I do keep every single video I upload. This was an awesome journey. Looking forward to drawing more of these capital cities out. We're gonna keep going, we're not stopping. This is only the beginning. 50 state capitals and the national capital, that's not enough. You still got tons to do. And I will make a very special video of this accomplishment that will come pretty soon on this channel. Trust me. I think you guys will enjoy it. And I'm gonna really put so much effort to editing that special video. So guys, that is gonna be the end of this video. Stay tuned for more content, and I hope this video was quite enjoyable to watch.
Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate your time. Feel free to subscribe to this channel. Feel free to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I love to connect with you people. And also, feel free to follow my Facebook page. So, I will catch each and every one of you guys later.